Welcome back to Allergy Actually. If you've ever tried to find a holiday gift for someone with food allergies, asthma, eczema, or fragrance sensitivities, you know it can feel a little overwhelming. Today, we're going to break down what truly works, from safe self-care items to home products, cozy gifts, and meaningful non-food alternatives. No guesswork, no stress, just gifts that feel good. All right, you guys, has anyone actually done any Christmas shopping yet this year?
Not yet, but my kids have their PowerPoint presentations of the gift list ready.
That is impressive.
Well, Amazon, Target, and Walmart sent out their toy little magazines, catalogs, whatever you want to call them. I think before Halloween, they came early October. And so my kids have been asking and saying, okay, can Santa bring me this, that, or the other thing for well over a month already.
I'm not going to lie. The PowerPoint presentation is kind of nice because then you get to sit there while they, pitch to you why they want what they want in different categories. And it's kind of fun. But how about you, Meagan? Have you guys started any purchasing?
I have ordered one thing, and I love it when Facebook starts suggesting to me the things I might like. It's always right. I'm like, yes, I might like that. I do. And so it showed me something the other day, and I can't remember the company off the top of my head, but it was these cards, and it was like 50 adventure cards per state, and you could get one for your state or whatever state you pick, but you scratch it off like a lottery ticket. And it tells you about some sort of hidden, not well-known fun thing to do in your state. And it's in categories. So I don't know if you're traveling for the day or eating or whatever. And so I got those for my brothers and my sister cousin, for everybody, because they all enjoy going to do stuff. For me, I'll be like, oh, look, that looks so fun. I'm never, ever going to go do that. And so they will go do it. And so I ordered that for them, which was pretty cool. But as a matter of fact, that's probably a good gift alternative. Right before we signed on to this, we were talking about what it's like to think about getting gifts for people who do struggle with these things, and allergies, asthma, things like that. And that's not something that in the past I ever really thought much about. I admit that I was probably selfish and naive in my gift giving. And so that's something that I try to think more about now with people. And so what about you all? Do you have family members or anyone that you think about specifically when dealing with those things?
Well, I think, just to give you a little, it's okay, Meagan, we grew up in a time where gosh, I don't know about you, every year I got Bath and Body Works stuff in my stocking and looked forward to that those kinds of things. Right. But now imagining gosh, with my brand new little niece who has eczema kind of right off the bat, that would be the worst possible gift for her.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just been a change of the times and, what we're dealing with.
It's also kind of more what's your gift giving style and what's human nature. I think human nature is to think about what are things that you would like that you also think this person you love would like. Asking the person is probably the best thing because then they're getting what they want. But I know sometimes, I've heard grandparents say things like, well, I want to give you something you'll remember, an experience. I think experience gifts are so cool. That's kind of a personal, I want to get to where I'm giving experiences because it's not only is it a gift the day you give it, when you announce it, it's exciting and fun. But then when you go do it, it's exciting and fun. And they're going to remember that time with you. So that's one of those things you could have any kind of budget. It could be a $5 coffee date. It could be a shopping trip. I remember when Ben and I were dating one year, he gave me, he was working, he's an environmental scientist, had a job, but we were young, so it wasn't like he had a lot of money. And he bought $20 gift cards to 5 different stores. And again, this was 25 years ago. So
that was a lot.
It was a lot. And he bought them from stores that were all in one mall. And so my gift was he took me on a shopping spree and I got to go buy something at all these different stores. And it was fun. And obviously to this day, I think back fondly on it.
Well, one of the most, I think, thoughtful gifts my parents did for the kiddos is they got them a membership to the local children's museum. And, it was something that was more expensive, price point. But when it was divided amongst the three kids, was more in line with what they typically would spend. And so then every time we went that year, we would send pictures to my parents to say, hey, or a little video of like, thanks, Grammy and Gramby, for the membership. We got to do XYZ today. We got to see the Barbie exhibit or the Titanic exhibit or whatever. And so it not only was a gift that kept on giving for the kiddos, but we also were able to feed that back to grandma and grandpa, with those little messages of thanks.
How did they present it to the kids? Because I think one of the things I also hear from grandparents is, well, I don't just want to give you money. I want them to have something to open.
So she sends ornaments for the kids like every year. So they had those to open that were like a little smaller thing.
Yeah.
So it didn't have quite that like rip it open appeal, but they still had the other aspects to it.
And you can get creative with that if that's your thing. Like, put the gift card in a box, inside a box, inside a box.
Yeah. No, we did swim lessons for the kids a couple years ago. And we bought them like new goggles and like a couple things to open up. And then I made like a little certificate to say swim lessons.
Yeah.
Do you guys, one of my thoughts is, I like to do something for my staff and sort of a general thing for people in the office. And then there's also gifts that we give like neighbors and people from church and, just random teachers, that kind of thing. And I'm trying to think about things that are a good option that now that I'm being cognizant, I think of individual needs, such as, maybe everyone should just get a Yankee Candle, that kind of thing. I admit I'm a huge gift certificate person. And for an office sort of gift, I really like edible arrangements. And to my knowledge, we don't have any food allergies with the adults in my office building, but they do at least come with some options that are literally just fruit without anything on it that you could even wash yourself again before eating it if you did have an issue with nuts or something like that, as far as or dairy, like thinking about exposures. But I do worry about trying to give somebody like an actual food gift unless I know exactly those things about them and things like that.
So along the same lines, I feel like teacher gifts fall into that, or bus driver gifts. I've talked to some of my teacher friends, and over they say, cash is queen or cash is king, whatever the saying is. It's queen for us. So I've thought about this, and you can get some really cute paper clips. Like the paper clips, they might come in a pack of 10. It might be 10 or $20. So the paper clip itself is kind of expensive for a paper clip. But if you're just as like an add-on, whatever you're going to give them, we'll just say like $20. And then you put this cute little paper clip and a little note on it. It dresses it up a little bit and feels like you're doing more than just handing them cash, which they're going to love either way.
No, I think that's a really great idea. And I'm thinking my daughter, my oldest, she has a new teacher this year and she's an adult. She's been teaching for a couple years at this point, but she's a baby, in the scheme of like compared to our age now, right? And she has a severe peanut allergy. So thinking through, oh gosh, this may be a really easy way to do something thoughtful. And frankly, she's young and I'm sure is, underpaid and can use that extra little Christmas bonus.
Yeah.
Love that idea of the paper clips, and that kind of takes care of, a couple birds with that.
Any final thoughts on things to avoid, like categories of gifts to avoid if you're not sure, like maybe you don't know someone super well or in a personal way and you're not sure if they have sensitivities or allergies?
One thing is, and I don't think this is specific for sensitivities and allergies, but I try to keep in mind that it's not a good idea to gift people alcohol because you never know what sort of their past history is with alcohol. And, there are different, thoughts about morality and all of that. But, I worry that I might incidentally give that to someone who's in recovery, something like that. And so I do try to think about that because in the past, a lot of the time, my go-to hostess gift would always be a bottle of wine. And if I know someone well and I know, they're a very good friend, then that's one thing. But if it's someone that, say, you're going to like your boss's house for dinner, something like that, that you don't know them well, doing something. I'm a big fan of a little tray that can be used as a carving board that you can use as like decor. You can use, and you can put like a beautiful bow on it. Yeah, that kind of thing. And so I take that as a hostess gift a lot whenever I'm not quite sure what to bring. I think, oh, everybody loves a beautiful little carving board, and you can dress that up with a flower and some sparklies, and, it's nice and well received.
I'm going to pull something from one of our other episodes when we were talking about decorating. You had mentioned the flameless candles. One of the hostess gifts that I think was a go-to in the early 2000s was like a candle, right?
Yes.
And so, well, here's like a modern equivalent. Like you could,
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
even on a decorative tray or something to that. But I think avoiding things that are fragranced, skincare stuff if you're not sure. Yeah. And then, being thoughtful about food gifts, of trying, if you're going to bring a food gift, something that isn't, the bag of nuts and the nutcracker, unless, you're in the clear with that.
I'll add one final one. So far we have things to avoid, unless of course you ask the person and they want it: alcohol, scented things, food, and I'll add live things, whether it be an animal or a plant. Those are things that you just don't know if someone's going to tolerate it, take care of it. So put that on the do not give list unless they've said, please, can I have a puppy?
And noisy toys. Let's just say that noisy toys is going to be up there too on my list of please don't give my children, but inevitably it happens. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Gift giving is such a meaningful way to show that you care, especially for loved ones. If they do have allergies and sensitivities, it is always a good idea to try to keep that in mind, or at least go with the gift, such as some of the ones that we talked about that are not likely to irritate any of those diseases. So we hope these ideas help you choose presents that feel safe, beautiful, and genuinely supportive. Wishing you a wonderful holiday season from Allergy Actually.